It is peak off-season trading time in Dynasty leagues. We've got Dynasty startups happening. Rookie drafts are underway. This is the perfect time to get into our Dynasty fantasy football rankings. And we're going to start here with the running back position. I'm bringing back in my guy, Anthony Corrente, to help me break down the top 36 running backs in our consensus Dynasty rankings. We've broken them into 6 tiers. So let's go ahead. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. And we have our top 36 Dynasty running backs. We got a lot of ground to cover. Before we do, want to make sure folks know we legitimately want to hear your feedback. All right, it's May. We have time to talk through these rankings, have some good discussion. Drop a comment. Let us know, who are we too high on, too low on? Do you hate where we have slotted in this 2025 rookie class? Because they make up a big chunk of these rankings. It's a tough task in May. Do you think you're up for it, Ant?
It is a tough task in May, but like you said, we have the luxury of time right now. We have time to argue, time to dissect, time to rank them and restack them. You know, pre-training camp, post-training camp, a bunch of different times over the next few months. So yeah, 36 running backs. Let's hit them.
It is time, and we have broken them up into 6 tiers to help differentiate value. So let's go ahead. Let's get into tier 6 here. I'm calling this group, they're messy, but they're relevant. All right. You might not love them, but you can't ignore that they're going to make an impact on fantasy rosters. So starting 36 up, Isaiah Pacheco at 36, Ramondre Stevenson 35, rookie Bashal Tootin slots in at 34, 33 is Najee Harris, 32 Zach Charbonnet, Brian Robinson Jr. 31, and rounding out the group is Tyrone Tracy Jr. Now, Ant, I want to get your thoughts quickly, at least on each of these guys, and we'll find a couple players to really dive in on each slide. But before we do, I should point out, these are consensus rankings. So I've taken my individual rankings, we've taken Anthony's individual rankings, and we've come to a consensus between these two players. So as we go through, we will highlight, maybe Anthony's really high on a player versus me. And right off the bat, the only reason Pacheco got into these rankings is because of Anthony. Personally, I'm worried. I don't know that he has the juice anymore, but you're still in on him.
I'm still in on him. I'm not as high as I was like this time a year ago. You absolutely hate him, have left him for dead. I think that, I have him ranked as running back 27. And I think he's going to be a guy that you don't feel like great about at any point of the year, but I feel like will be kind of trustworthy as an RB3 type. And maybe he gets some spike weeks, but that's kind of most of this tier, right? Like I still like Pacheco for that reason. And same thing with Ramondre. Like obviously the ceiling isn't the same as it was, pre-drafting Travion Henderson. Like obviously Henderson has the upside. We'll get to him later, but Stevenson, I think, is still going to have a role there. It's just not going to be a really sexy, like ultra productive role, but he's going to have a role. I was surprised we were both as close as we were on Tootin.
Yeah.
Because like the Jacksonville backfield is kind of like gross to figure out. I think for me right now, it just comes down to like cost. Like,
yeah,
in terms of ranking them, like, I'll be honest, the guy I don't want any of is Travis Etienne. Like, I think I'm just kind of done there. I'd feel better about gambling on either Tootin or even Bigsby. I don't know. I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling about Etienne with the new regime there.
Yeah, I mean, with Tootin, right, it's the new coaching staff. They've drafted their guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's Liam Cohen that made Bucky Irving, relevant. And I didn't love Tootin's tape, but I liked enough of it that in this situation, in this tier, at this cost, it felt right. And he's, he's with Najee Harris. He's with Zach Charbonnet. These are not, you'll see, with the exception of the one guy who I really want to get into, nobody in this tier has their backfield to themselves, right?
Right. It's like the ceiling on Najee's cap now with Hampton there.
That was a real bummer. That was a real bummer for the Najee Harris truthers out there.
Yep, sure was. Brian Robinson might have like the most steady role there.
Yeah.
but like
They didn't do anything.
they didn't do anything, kind of
They didn't do
surprisingly.
anything, which was, Brian Robinson, fantasy running back 29 in PPR formats last year. He had just over 200 touches in 14 games. He had 8 touchdowns. It's so uninspiring. And
Mhm.
I have 0 Brian Robinson, but I'm kind of feel like maybe I should.
I feel like I sold off what I had left last year because I was like, "Oh, they're definitely adding a running back in the offseason," and
I
then they
can't
didn't.
believe they didn't. Not even like a washed running back. You know what I
No,
mean?
no. It's,
Oh,
he's still kicking. He's still
he's
kicking.
still
For
he's
now,
still
for now.
unfortunately, Tyrone Tracy did get a backfield mate though. And that's going to be, I think, uh, here's what I'll say about Tyrone Tracy. I'm not ready to get rid of him yet. Like I'm not ready to bury him. And I was glad to see that in the rankings we were aligned with this. I have him 29. You have him 30. So we were
Yeah.
actually dead on with it.
Yeah, I think him and Scadaboo will be pretty good complementary pieces of each other. Like, it caps the ceiling on both of them, but I think it'll be a real timeshare where they'll both have a role and both get, opportunity and production. It's just that, like you said, somebody else gets added there. So maybe the total touches go down from what they were going to be had they not drafted somebody like Scadaboo. But I think they're two players that can coexist nicely, like that they can both maintain their own roles and both return fantasy value despite the other one being there.
All right. And when it comes to the running back position, there's a reason we went 36 deep. These guys are important. They're
Yeah.
relevant. You need to know about them. And you definitely do not just want to bypass this. These are your flex guys. These are your bench guys, depending on the depth of your starting lineups. But let's get into tier 5 here because, Ant, this is where things get a little juicier. I'm calling these our weekly contributors. And you'll see the tiers are a little big as we start, and they're going to get tighter as we go. So at 29, we just talked about his backfield mate. It's Cam Scadaboo, the rookie for the New York Giants. At 28, I had to adjust my eyes. Tony Pollard still in the league. All right. He's there at 28 for the Titans. 27, Joe Mixon. 26, DeAndre Swift. 25, James Conner. 24, Chuba Hubbard. Aaron Jones at 23. And at 22, Quinshon Judkins. And I could have called this the AARP tier as well.
I was gonna say this is the old man tier.
This is like they're old and we hate them because we're playing Dynasty fantasy football, but also they're still producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the vibe with most of these guys, aside from Scadaboo and Judkins at the top there. But we talked Scadaboo already. Pollard is like you said, Pollard is this year's just take your medicine. Like just
I hate it. I don't
take your
want
medicine. It's not gonna feel good. It's not gonna feel good. But I mean, even last year, he's coming off a season where he finished as the RB21 last year.
300 touches last year for
300
Pollard.
touches last year. I guess
300.
it comes down to, I think we're past the point of really worrying about Tajay Spears, like really supplanting him in a massive way. So I think Pollard's going to get a pretty healthy workload again. Same with Mixon. I mean, I think he's still going to get a pretty healthy workload. These guys like Pollard, Mixon, those are the two where I'm like, this could be it. Like after this, like I'm comfortable riding it out this year, but it might get pretty ugly pretty fast after this.
Joe Mixon, we're pretty far off on. So you had him at 21.
Yeah.
And I had him at 34. And I think the reason is you mentioned it's still a backfield in your eyes. I've talked about it a lot. I think Woody Marks is going to get his in this offense. And really importantly, as you mentioned, I think that Joe Mixon is 1 foot out the door, right?
Yeah.
And, so if you want to ride him for this season, I just make sure you're a contender. If you have Joe Mixon on your roster, make sure you're a contender.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree that Woody Marks will get his. I just wonder how much, how early, and like when, like does his workload depend on how the season starts to play out, and like does it shift over time?
Yeah, that's fair.
DeAndre Swift survived the draft, so I mean he's he's the guy there, right? Like in an offense that we're all supposed to love.
Legally speaking, yes.
James Conner is the most disrespected player in fantasy football every year, and he's just going to be good again. Like,
I'm so mad at us for putting him 25.
I know, because he's going to be better than this. He's going to be like, he's going to finish like top 16, top 15, something like that. And
I have so much James Conner. I
Same.
really do. And I have definitely sent an offer of like my mid-second round pick for James Conner in every league this past week.
Yep. Yeah, I love that move on a team ready to contend. Chuba Hubbard, like another guy that everybody's gonna like balk at the name, but he's the guy there. Like,
he's the guy.
He's the guy there.
Chuba Hubbard, another guy, 293 touches last season, including 40 of those were through the air. We like Trevor Etienne. I do think he's going to make an impact in that offense. I'm not super worried about. Why am I forgetting his name from Dallas?
Rico Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle.
Yeah,
that tells you how.
That's why you forgot his name.
That was on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not super worried about it, but so I think Hubbard, just you got some good floor, man. You got some good floor there with Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah. And then Aaron Jones and Quinshad Judkins, like Aaron Jones is like, I feel bad about where I have him ranked. Like I didn't really feel great about that.
Should.
Yeah. He should be higher. Like he's another one. He's going to be better than that. I had him at 29. You had him at 17. I do wonder a little bit like what the split will be between Jordan Mason and him, but I think to a degree it's kind of like the Tyrone Tracy Cam Scattaboo conversation earlier, where they'll probably both return value, and Mason could probably be a really good value depending on how late you could snag him, but Jones, as long as he stays healthy, is going to be productive there.
I'll tell you why I had Jones up at 17, and we're going to get into Josh Jacobs in the next tier. I just feel like Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs like need to be next to each other anytime I do rankings.
Yeah, that's
They're
fair.
Just the same player on different teams.
Yep, that is fair. I respect it.
And Quinshad Judkins rounding out this. We've talked about the rookies a lot. I don't want to get too into the rookies here. I think that's going to be a really I honestly have no idea what we're going to get with Quinshad Judkins in Cleveland. I'm worried about it. There are definitely folks with more confidence in him. But I feel good about the fact that he is not in the same tier as three of the rookie running backs that we're going to talk about in the next group.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for him. I thought we might be further apart on him, honestly. But yeah. I think this is kind of a good place consensus-wise to value him.
All right. Well, before we get on to tier 4 here, going to pull up the full ranking so you kind of get the wide view. We're going to keep you updated as we go throughout the episode here visually. I also want to let folks know, if you want to see the full Rookie Big Board Dynasty rankings for running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, you can head on over to patreon.com/Rookie Big Board. The link will be in the episode description. What is so cool about our Dynasty rankings is that they are directly equivalent to our Devy rankings. So it uses the same scale as well as the 2025 rookie rankings. Also, I think probably even cooler is that all of the Rookie Big Board Dynasty rankings are based in seasonal projections, right? Points actually matter, right, folks? The points that they're going to put up. And you have access as a Rookie Big Board patron to see team-by-team breakdowns for every single fantasy relevant player, full projections, everything you need to know about these players, all of that, Discord community, so much more available for just $5 a month over at patreon.com/Rookie Big Board. If you're enjoying the video, you will love the content that we have available for you over there. All right, tier 4, I'm calling these volume backs. And the reason is because when I'm looking at running backs, I'm looking for volume, right? And so these are guys that I feel good about that volume, and that's going to make me chase them for my Dynasty rosters. At 21, it's Caleb Johnson, the aforementioned rookie, along with RJ Harvey coming in just ahead of him at 20. Christian McCaffrey at 19. Ooh, we're going to have to talk about that. David Montgomery at 18. The aforementioned Josh Jacobs at 17. My man, Chase Brown, surviving the draft, up there at 16. and Travion Henderson, another rookie in this tier here, and he's going to come in at 15. I feel like there is a whole lot of decision making for where you go amongst this group.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that 3 rookies fall right in this range. To the point about volume, like Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, like that's it, man. Like those guys, they're the dudes. Like I'm not particularly worried. Like to me, I'm kind of done riding like the Jalen Warren roller coaster. Like I
Yeah.
know
Oh,
that
yeah.
he, is still there, but that's Caleb Johnson's backfield. I think he'll get all the touches he can handle. And same thing with RJ Harvey. There's quite literally nobody else. Nobody
To the
else there.
moon.
To the moon for RJ Harvey. Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is interesting. We were far apart. I put him at running back 13.
Oh my gosh.
Because I am a crazy person. And the thing is, like, I know last year was gross and we hated it. And he only played in 4 games and it stunk. But man, if he's right, there's no way he's the running back 19.
Yeah.
Like he's just not. And I get that there's risk involved. I understand it. But we're it was just a couple years ago, 1,400 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns and another 564 yards receiving, right? And a year before that, 1,100 on the ground and another 741 through the air. So you're taking the injury risk, but if he's healthy, if you get 15, 16 games out of Christian McCaffrey, I mean, we can lock it in that he's not going to be the running back 18, 19. You're talking more about, running back 7, 8, 9. So I get it. You're baking in the injury risk with the cost, and maybe it blows up again. But if it doesn't, man, this might be the year to try and get yourself a cheaper Christian McCaffrey share while everybody's scared off the injury.
If you're on a contender, what are you offering for Christian McCaffrey? Like, what's your opening offer? How high are you willing to go?
My opening offer is probably, I'm trying to maybe package a couple 2s, something like that.
You'd open with multiple 2s.
Maybe I'd open with a 2 and a 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
On a contender, I'd trade a late 1 for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I get the process. And I mean, we're saying a late 1 is RJ Harvey or Caleb Johnson. So I get it. I think that lines up.
To be fair, it could go horribly wrong. Like, I'm not saying trade your late 1 for Christian McCaffrey and it's going to work 100% of the time. But 60% of the time, it works every time.
Christian McCaffrey plus Jalen Noel, right? Okay, I could live with that.
Yeah.
Versus RJ Harvey. I could live with that. David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, just your meat and potatoes, right?
Yeah.
Just throw them in there. David Montgomery, by the way, I was never really a high exposure David Montgomery guy, and I added a ton of him last year.
Mm-hmm.
And up until the very end of the season when he got injured, boy, was that working for me.
Yeah. David Montgomery is like he's new age James Conner. Everybody hates him. Everybody's bored with him, but he's just pretty much always good if he's not healthy or if he's not hurt.
Running back.
And he's always like the value is always a little depressed because of Gibbs. So it's like split backfield, but they both just get a ton of work anyway. And so yeah, I love David Montgomery.
In points per game last year, David Montgomery was running back 16 with 15.9. Running back 15 David Montgomery had 15.8. Running back 15 with 15.9 was James Conner. So you're spot on.
There you go.
They're the same player.
Yeah. I've never even seen him in the same place at the same time. They might just be the same person.
We've got to look into this. Get the research team on this. And Chase Brown, man. Chase Brown survives the offseason. I was absolutely thrilled about that. When I'm looking at my projections for Chase Brown, I mean, he comes out very well. He comes in at running back 18. He comes in at 248 touches. Volume backs, man. You can't go wrong chasing the volume.
It's wheels up for Chase Brown. He's my running back 12.
Absolutely love to see it.
He survived the draft. Come on. It was the only concern. It was the only concern. He did it last year. We saw it. And then they didn't add anybody. And who cares about whatever's left of Zach Moss and Samaje Perine? Like that's Chase Brown's backfield.
And a pretty good offense to be in for
Yeah.
sure. As we zoom out here, give you the full breakdown. We're halfway through our top 36 dynasty running back rankings. Again, drop us a comment. Let us know. I know you have opinions at this point. If you still are watching, you have opinions. Let us know. And by the way, after you finish watching this video, make sure to head into the episode description and check out Anthony's work over at Gridiron Drive. His channel will be linked in the episode description. Him and Pete got a whole lot of good NFL content coming out there. All right, let's get into it here. The game breaker tier. This is the fun one, man. This is where things start to get juicy. You start to get a little excited when you're drafting these guys in the startups. You know, you're looking to add some contenders to your roster. 14, Alvin Kamara. Absolute slander. We'll get into it. Kenneth Walker the third coming in at 13. Rookie Amarian Hampton finds his role at 12. James Cook. I want to talk about James Cook. He's coming in at 11. Just absolute rinse and repeat. He got an extension, baby. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can be 55 years old. I refuse to have him outside of the top 10 in my running back rankings. If you comment on this video and tell us that we are too high on Derrick Henry, I'm sorry. I do not care. All right. Bucky Irving at 9, Devin Achane at 8. Those are two players that I think are a little bit more wheels up, but definitely a lot shakier in terms of their floor. But let's restart here at 14, Anthony. I'm going to need you to defend yourself. I have Kamara at 12. That felt low to me. You have him at 18, man.
And again, it doesn't feel good, but it's just that I think the Saints might be absolute dog water.
Excuse me. That's Tyler Shuck's offense, man.
I look, I hope that Shuck and Kamara hit the ground running early. But 18 doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. He's a top 12 running back in my heart. But yeah, for now, that's about where I have him. I don't feel great about it. And to be fair though, I'm still not worried about Kendre Miller. I know we trashed Kendre Miller on this show last year, and we're gonna do it again. That's why he doesn't make the list.
Oh, but, he is so far.
Folks, it would take 3 of these running back shows to get to Kendre Miller. All right. He's simply not going to be discussed.
In our top 135 running back rankings. In our XFL rankings. All right. Kenneth Walker the third. In terms of fantasy points per game last year, he was running back 12. He missed the back end of the season. He was on a real heater for a little while there, although not super efficient overall.
Yeah. And I think it'll be more of the same too. Like he's going to have those kind of inefficient weeks, but he can pop a big one. I don't know. It's tough for me to put him lower than that. Like he's kind of the perfect example to me of like that fringe back end RB1 type. Like I don't want him as my RB1. I feel pretty good if he's my RB2 though.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Amarian Hampton, I have at 12.3 fantasy points per game in half PPR format. That's a really strong projection for a rookie running back. So excited to see what's going to be going on for him. Somebody who I think is a real strong buy right now is James Cook. I think you could capitalize on this camp news, the will he, won't he. The production's really good. And I love Ray Davis. I know you love Ray Davis. But in terms of volume, man, like James Cook has that backfield on lock. And I have him actually as running back 7. So I'm pretty bullish on him here. I should have called this tier the Ants dragging him down tier.
I was just going to say that. It is me dragging everybody down. I like James Cook, and from like a value perspective, I think of him almost identical to what I just said about Kenneth Walker. Like I don't want to roster James Cook as my RB1. If I can roster him as my second running back, I feel really good about that. I agree that he's probably a buy right now, given the camp news and all that stuff. Like things like that always, I think, present an interesting window to go out and try and trade for a player. But yeah, 7 is bullish. I don't hate it. He's a great player, but I'm a little bit lower. This is the me dragging him down tier. I even dragged
Well,
Derrick Henry down a little bit.
just a little bit though. Not bad. Not
No.
bad on Derrick Henry. Here's the thing, and I mentioned it when I was reading off the tier. Folks, we're talking dynasty, and I think that generally speaking, managers do get in their heads a little bit with age, especially at the running back position. Here's the bottom line, folks. If I can get 2 to 3 good years out of a running back, I don't care how old they are. If I have confidence that they can get me 2 more top 12 seasons, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because even young running backs, so much changes. This is going to sound ludicrous. I'm sure I'll get pushback on this, but Derrick Henry, even in his 30s, I feel more confident about what Derrick Henry is going to look like in 2 years than Devin Achane. We have much more proven profile, right?
Oh yeah.
And obviously, you have more years to get points out of Devin Achane, but I'm looking 2 years, I'm looking 3 years, especially more than anything when we're talking about running backs. So I have Derrick Henry everywhere. I'm adding him on contenders where I can. I mean, there is no such thing as a surefire fantasy production, but it's as close as you can get.
Except for Derrick Henry.
Derrick.
I'm telling you, I feel like 4 years ago, I made the mistake of trying to predict, y'all sell Derrick Henry, but just don't do it. The rules don't apply here. I don't care that he's 31. None of it matters. None of it matters. Sometimes you're an outlier. Sometimes you're a guy that is just an absolute wrecking ball of a human that was put on this earth to run through everybody. And that's Derrick Henry. So,
yep. And you were higher on our last 2 guys in this tier, Achane, Irving. You pulled those guys up a little bit, and them plus Henry, Cook. That's why I called this tier the game breaker tier, right? Because there's a whole lot of ceiling in this tier, and I think these 2 guys kind of really carry that.
Achane, it makes me sick to my stomach or nervous to put him there though. It's with zero confidence, and I know it's off a great, super productive year, but oh man, I just worry about that guy surviving and staying healthy.
I just worry about that.
I just worry about him as a healthy human. I don't know. I just have this hard time sometimes trusting the small guy like that, but makes up for it with track speed. And yeah, Bucky Irving, it's interesting. You hope the role's the same, right? New offensive play caller there and everything, but did a lot of good things there last year. So it's an interesting tier. It's a nice mix of young, old, a little bit of everything. But yeah, there's definitely some real ceiling there.
All right, as we zoom out here and look at our first 24 players that we have talked about. Nope, that's bad math. As we zoom out and look at our first 29 players that we have talked about, we're going to get
a guy, folks, not a math guy.
Woo! We are going to get into our tier 2. And I just want to prep folks, get big mad, because I'm sure there's going to be somebody in tier 2 that you really love, that you think should be in tier 1. But guess what? They're all good players, including Bree Hall, who comes in at 7, Kyron Williams at 6, Jonathan Taylor at 5, and Saquon Barkley there at 4 is at the top of tier 2. I call them roster builders, right? Because I do not believe in building out rosters around running backs. But if I did believe in that, if I was going to do that, these are some of the guys that I would like to do that around, except for Bree Hall. Anthony, I don't know what happened here, man. How did he get in here?
We had to pull somebody up. I've been dragging folks down. We had to pull somebody up.
We're like, wait.
Yeah,
I just want to point out here, James Cook died for this. James Cook got sent into tier 3, so Bree Hall could be a tier 2 running back.
Listen, it's a rivalry. We got to stick it to the Bills whenever we can. There's been a lot of undue panic about Bree Hall this year because I know last year didn't feel great or like what people wanted, but it's all right. The bad man is gone. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Don't have to worry anymore. We're not stat padding inside the 10-yard line. And then Aaron Glenn, talks about we've got 3 good running backs. We want to use them all. But Bree Hall is going to get a ton of work this year. I know that everyone wants to freak out about, he's not going to get the same passing work because Justin Fields is going to run. He's not going to target the running back. Brees Hall is going to get a ton of work. And regardless of how much Justin Fields wants to target the running back as a receiving option, they don't have very many good receivers. So he's still going to get targets, whether he's put out in the slot, split out wide, something like that, when you have one of either Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis in the backfield. I think there's going to be still a really large amount of work for Brees Hall in that offense. An offense that returns 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line and spent a top 10 pick on their new right tackle. So should have some good running room for Brees Hall this year.
All right. I'll accept it. I'll accept it. Kyron Williams at 6, man, so much Kyron Williams. You will remember back the rookie big board faithfuls, the ones who have been watching, 3, 4, 5 years now, will remember that we loved Kyron Williams. I got a ton of Kyron Williams in the 3rd round of my rookie drafts that year, and I have not even considered moving them. All right. Still top 5 running back in my projections, just an absolute volume monster. If you are tweaking Kyron Williams even one spot in your dynasty rankings because of Jarquez Hunter, we are different people.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, it almost feels like the consensus is starting to do that, which feels a little crazy. Like, so to me, like, if everybody is freaked out about Jarquez Hunter taking Kyron Williams work, trade for Kyron Williams. Like, this might be the time to go send some Kyron Williams offers. So I agree. Great player. We know McVay wants to use a workhorse back. Yeah, I still think it's going to be another great year for Kyron Williams.
I completely agree. And Jonathan Taylor, folks have forgotten. Jonathan Taylor was winning fantasy championships last year. 3 touchdowns in the playoffs in one game. I mean, he is an absolute tank, insulated volume. I understand people are worried about that passing attack, but guess what? Jonathan Taylor does not need the passing attack.
No.
He's good to go.
He missed 3 games last year and was still a top 12 running back.
That's good. Check the math, folks. That's good.
He's another name where it's like, I feel like people have, like, don't get me wrong, we've got really good players in front of him, and I understand that, but, like, Jonathan Taylor's a damn good running back, man. Like, he is a very good player. And you can have concerns about the passing game. What you shouldn't have concerns about is somebody turning around and handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor 20 to 25 times a game. That's the game plan.
I think if you got mad at us for putting Saquon Barkley in tier 2, I think that would be fair. Honestly,
yeah.
In the projections, he's running back 1 for me this season. He had an excellent season last year. I think you're looking at 2 to 3 good seasons for him. I don't know. But I think when we talk about tier 1, there's just a youth factor. And I just talked about how I don't care about it at all. But if we're trying to represent consensus somewhat, I just putting him, 4 is not a bad spot to be.
No, look, hey, he would have been higher, but they didn't ban the tush push. So,
oh man,
yeah,
he would have been in a tier of his own.
He would have got those touchdowns. He would have got all the Jalen Hurts touchdowns. Yeah, he would have been running back 0, 1 spot above 1. Yeah, he would have been patient 0
in a good way.
Barkley's great. It feels funny to put him in tier 2 because he's not a tier 2 running back. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's just the age factor, the youth thing. Great player though.
Great player, though. So tier 1, let's go ahead. Let's get into that top tier now as we kind of take a moment again, zoom out, big picture. The rankings really look different when you kind of take them into the full context here of everybody we've talked about. And we're going to finish up with our championship runners. At 3 is the rookie Ashton Genty. That's right, folks. We're not holding back. Nope. We have 300 touches on deck for Ashton Genty. We're looking at pushing double-digit touchdowns and a really strong tape profile as well. And tied, we couldn't split the tie. Ant had it, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson 1-2. I had Bijan and then Gibbs 1-2. I think you're in a pretty good spot either way here. But before we say, why Gibbs versus why Bijan, Genty at 3, we both had him at 3. So you feel good about that.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were both going to have him close or in the same spot. 3 feels right to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if we're higher than consensus or everybody's there right now, but I don't know, man. There's just not many other names I'm taking before him. And if you want to go the route of like, say you're in a startup and rookies are in it and you don't want to take Ashton Genty because you feel like you can get Saquon Barkley around later, that's fine.
Cool
But
with me.
just stacking them from a ranking perspective, age taken into consideration, workload that we're expecting. I mean, Ashton Genty is going to be the engine of that offense. Like there's literally, we've said about a couple guys, there is nobody else in Las Vegas to take running back touches from him. The dust left behind of Raheem Mostert. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Genty comes in running back 8 in my seasonal projections, and it's honestly a little conservative. I mean,
Yeah.
he could be top 5.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was good to see we both had him at 3. I like that.
But you've got Gibbs over Bijan. Are we splitting hairs here, or what's the argument for Gibbs over Bijan?
Flipped a coin.
Is it that Bijan is in a Michael Penix offense?
It's they're. I don't even like putting them 1 and 2. Honestly, I have no like real like stand on the table argument for it. If I'm being perfectly honest, like the offense, I guess, but it's not like a slight against a Michael Penix offense for Bijan. I think they're both excellent players that are both really good in the receiving game. That should both be in really good offenses with good skill players around them so that nobody can key in on just them. I have no issue with Bijan 1 or Gibbs 1. Ask me again next month, I might flip it. But today I put Gibbs 1. I just think Gibbs, you get a tiny bit more of that, like something crazy is going to happen. Like he's going to break something absolutely bonkers.
That's just chaos factor.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's so, to me anyway, the difference between the two is so negligible that like, if you have either one of them, chalk it up to you have the RB1. I think they're that close.
You're good to go. You're good to go. I'll give the nod to Bijan. I just think there's a little bit more isolated volume there.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a Michael Penix offense, you're really going to want to make sure your running game is established well. And then just a slight twinge of nervousness with the new offensive coordinator there in Detroit, right? So just a little bit there working against Gibbs. Again, we're not going to overreact. It's still a really good spot to be in. But if I had to choose one, I would take Bijan over Gibbs, although I really like both of them. But let us know who you'd rather take. And so drop a comment. Let us know. Make sure you've liked the video. If you've watched this whole thing, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And I'm telling you, folks, head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard. Get those dynasty rankings, pair them up with our dynasty rankings, our rookie rankings, personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord. And honestly, best of all, this time of year, use those seasonal projections. They are so, so helpful. You have the overall tabs, and then you have team-by-team breakdowns. Every single player, you can get an in-depth look in each of those offenses. And make sure you're going to the episode description and you're checking out Anthony's channel as well. Him and Pete doing some great work over there. And we're going to be back real soon with some more Dynasty Fantasy Football rankings.